Hello everybody, it's your pal Quinn, and we're going to be jumping back into Don't Forget our esports stream. In the last episode, we jumped off right where we were here before, but then we ran into a weird kind of clan, gang group of people, along with reminiscing, eventually finding us to where the classroom title screen would pop up, and now we're living vicariously through Mincio and her plushie and keychain. As she gets approached by some of the familiar faces and some new ones. So, without spoiling too much, let's just jump right back into it. A few guys behind him laughing at my answer for some reason. After throwing a stare back to silence them, he cracks his neck and turns back to me.
You think you're funny?
Sometimes?
Let's get right to the point. You cheated and won my crew in a bet match. Now you have to face the wrath of the Goon clan. I challenge you to a best of 7. It's time someone exposes you truly as the fraud you are, and this time you won't be able to hide behind your little friend.
No,
What'd you say?
I don't accept.
What do you mean you don't accept? You can't just not accept.
I don't wanna. I refuse. The guy stares back at me while the crowd behind him breaks into muffled whispers.
Don't you know who I am? I am Juan Goon, Demon King of Goon, and feared by clans everywhere. I'll ruin your reputation on AC Inside.
Okay.
Won't you be able to show your face online ever again?
Okay. Behind him, the whispers grow increasingly concerned.
You're ducking? Just like that. Because you'll know you'll lose, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye. I turn and skip away without another word. After a block or two, I turn down the street to Golden Zone Fire and catch the group on the corner of my eye. He's yelling at them. Poor guys. I'm here. Mincio takes her arrival only known the instant she steps through the door. I can only spare a half-second look given the preparation I need to make for her jet's imminent attack. I sense her presence right behind my left shoulder, then my right. Ooh, who's winning? Me. So she thinks. A moment later, I faced with an unreal number of Hydralisks. Bad timing for a boast. I sniffed out her 2 base attack early though, but her macro is simply too on point. She makes short work of my front line and ends the game soon after. Losing sucks. Facts. Why don't you just make lurkers like a normal person? Your all-ins are so unpolished. Because that's what you wanted me to do. And that's precisely why you weren't expecting one. Not a bad read. She shows a grin until Mincio cuts between us with stars in her eyes. Jet is so tricky. One time back in school, she told me she was going to a vaccine concert with a college guy, but then I saw her dancing with one of the live MV crowd shots all by herself. Mincio! Mincio jolts upright, realizing she may have said too much. She glances back to me with a clarification. Oh, sorry. The song was boosted, so it was only natural she would dance, or she had a date. Jet sinks into her chair, doing the best she can to mask the embarrassment on her face. I should help out. I like boosted. I prefer panic and fired. Oh, so you like Vaccine too, Wong? I can't wait for their next album next month. I love to put on their music videos while I study. Jet manages to regain her scowl, nose wrinkled and aimed at Mincio. Club practice is over already? Don't tell me you guys aren't going over replays like I used to force you all to. We totally are. Just today's a rush build, so it was fast. Yeah, everyone's learning so much. Really? What match did you guys watch? A sound dies in Mincio's throat. Her expression frozen as the gears turn in her head. Lock versus Fierce. Game 5 of the finals. Yeah. Oh, that was a great game. Fierce had such a bad start. It's crazy that he pulled off the win. Totally, yes, I agree with what you're saying for sure. That was the game where Locked proxied that a Star League final came down to a knife fight. Like, that is unusual. That's right. What do you think about Fierce's defense from a Protoss perspective? He didn't overreact, which is always a good thing, but I think he cut it too close with how he kept making probes. He did? Didn't you say that you just watched the match at the club practice? It was smart of Locke to recognize that he had to go for a tie. He had so much space to navigate, but few times his Marines got isolated really hurt him. All he needed was that final probe kill, just one more shot. I'll admit that I was on the edge of my seat at the end there. I practiced that rush with him tons of times, though that particular situation never come up. Ugh, I wish he'd won. Fair enough. What conclusion did the club come to, Mincio? I see, all this stuff Sung Wang said. The club's dead, isn't it? I'm sorry, Jet, I didn't want to tell you. Mincio rushes to Jae Young's side and wraps her arms around her. Jet puts an end to Mincio's sputtering apology with a few pats. It's really not a big deal. It is, though. I wish I'd been able to keep it together, but I'm not good enough at the game, and I'm not a great leader. Look on the bright side. You've got the fact that you're club leader on your transcript, but you don't have to put real work into it. You're not helping. And we got us to teach you how to play StarCraft. Jet raised an eyebrow. Better, but not enough to earn her approval. Oh, that's right, playing. Okay, what we gonna learn today? How about the fundamentals behind expansions? Most new players struggle with understanding that. What do you think, Jet? Actually, yeah. Whenever we play 2v2s, G always stays on one base. It's hard to focus on 2 bases at once. And even harder to focus on 5. Good thing you didn't choose Zerg. It was my second choice. Okay then, Mincio. What do you know about expansions and when we take them? Well, most pro gamers take 3 or 4 in a normal match. It depends on the map and the matchup, too. I get the feeling that an expansion is a big risk that pays off over time. That's not a bad way of putting it. Building expansion temporarily hurts your ability to make an army. In exchange, you can export an even larger army once the base is up and running. Expansions dictate the game's tempo. When to attack and defend are defined by moments, strength, and weakness, and those are often determined by base timings. So, basically I should only take an expansion if I think I won't lose in the next 2 or 3 minutes? Sure, one way of putting it. Okay, this makes me wonder. It's hard to defend an expansion. How are you people ever to take them in the first place? Defender's Advantage? Is that the name of a new map? It's just what it sounds like. The defender has the advantage against the attacker since it takes less time for their units to reach the battle. Also, the attacker has to scout when they can and should attack. That takes time too. Even if your army is a little smaller and you aren't producing quite as fast, it is still possible to win engagement due to the defender's advantage. I get it. Defensive structures like cannons, bunkers helps a lot too, right? Yeah, sunken colonies are absolutely necessary to defend against Terran cheeses and all-ins. Your natural expression is the first one you take. It's called that because it's almost always the expansion location closest to your main base, and therefore, you should naturally take. Yep, I already knew that. I must be a natural. Expansions contribute to most of StarCraft's intense challenge. A game where everyone is only one base wouldn't be very strategically or mechanically deep. Every player has limited APM and attention. We're constantly making calls whether to prioritize battle or reinforcements. Players who can efficiently manage 4 bases at once basically win by default against those who can't once the game goes late. That doesn't sound very fun. StarCraft is more exciting when it's decided by cool strategies or micro. It's fine if you don't want to focus on macro, or at least for now, but you'll have to find your edge somewhere else. I don't agree. Shoot steamroll bad players with good macro. She's right, of course, but it's not something exciting to hear about a game that Mincio probably already finds daunting. Last thing, you should know this from all pro matches you've seen, but Zerg always wants to be at least a base up on Terran and Protoss. Since Zerg produce units with larvae, and the more hatcheries they have, the better. Zerg units are good at establishing map control, but are generally weaker in a straight-up fight. Protoss also wants to expand before Terran, but not in the same way as Zerg. We can stay equal on bases as long as we establish ours first. A maxed out Terran army is usually too hard to fight if you don't already have advantage going into the late game. So we usually take small risks early to prevent a challenging situation later. So much information. I'm gonna need to write it all down. Mincio turns around and digs through her book bag set behind her station. She pops back, gets a notepad in her hand. Seriously? Note-taking? What are we, back in high school? No way! It's fun and a great way to study. You agree, don't you, Bolt? Sure. Helps you learn it in the first time. It gives you a resource to go back to and check if you're feeling lost. Exactly. That actually gives me a great idea. If you get the chance, could you write down anything you think is important for me to learn? I could do that for you, yeah. Just don't make things complicated for Sung Wong. There's enough for us to keep up with as is. I won't. I promise. Most StarCraft players have the ability to read into subtle cues, some stronger than others. The casters have taken to calling it star sense. It wouldn't surprise me if you could tell that there's a good time to bring up a topic to someone. If that happens, something might appear in the text box above like this. That might be a good time to present one of the topics in your notes. You don't have to, but probably should. Okay. Cool. If you don't, then it'll just go away on its own and your life will proceed as normal. Who's helping you here again? We're helping each other. How awesome is that? See, you didn't present anything, so your star sent went away. For right now, I insist you at least have to try it, so that we sure you know how it works. See, bang. Pronounce it with a long A, like bong. Oh, bong. That one right now. PC bong. No, it costs a little money per hour. There are hundreds and even thousands of PC bongs in, dang it, in Seoul. So anyway, pretty neat night if you want to present it. Flexible, I see. Just make sure you don't look at me like that. Okay, a chance to present something else. I mean it. Why don't you see if you can find a few matches online, Mincio? Oh, okay. I'll totally crush my opponents with my new knowledge of expansions for sure. The thumbs up, Mincio flies into a seat and buries her ears in a pair of headphones. If she were any closer to the screen, her nose might be touching it. Jet turns away from her with a slight smile and a shake of her head. Got a sec? Plenty, till I find a team. Is about that? No, well, not necessarily. You know ICG, International Cyber Games? What about it? I've been thinking about going. What? Why? A few reasons. One is to compete. If I'm not giving up on StarCraft, I should eventually try to win something now. You should be trying to find a place on a KPGA team. XSL is the only league that matters. More of this. You realize how close-minded you sound when you say that, right? I've won every ICG every single year. More often than not, it's two Koreans in the finals. Why waste money traveling when you can find the same level of competition at home? We... You're not interested? I didn't say that. No, you just want to scout another chance to spread off some more Patriot Sung Wong nonsense. You can be pretty mean, you know that? Jet throws her arms up and turns away towards me and quickly looks back like she Emily just walked in a circle. You can pride yourself on your country's esports achievements once you've contributed to them. I'm seriously sick of hearing about your crush on KPGA. Just then the sound of the cafe's door slamming once earns not only mine and Shea Young's attention, but practically the rest of the cafe's as well. A dozen similarly dressed high school guys, aged filtered up the stairs, filtered up the stairs into the cafe. They tailed by one far taller than the rest. There he is! Shea Young unzips her jacket and stretches out her right arm as she steps forward to intercept the familiar high schooler, Mincio, with her ladder game. Remains blissfully unaware. Hugh, wait, Jet?
From the other day? That was you? Wait a second. You were the one playing?
Yeah? Was that not clear?
Holy shit. Guys, I got to play against Jet.
The group leader winces, whether it's somewhere between surprise and distraught. Despite the presence of a bona fide StarCraft celebrity standing before him, he shoves his clan member back and points sharply at Mincio.
This girl dishonored one of my clan members and dishonor the Goon clan does not abide.
Your clan name is Goon? Jet throws a look back my way. I pull her towards me and tell her its English meaning. Oh my god, seriously? All he can do is face in Jet's growing laughter is stare. By the time Jet's finished collecting himself, Mincio spins a full circle and a half in her seat and stretches out. Phew! I almost won, but then I noticed my probes were dead. What do you guys think? Oh look, these guys again.
We're getting our match.
Nope.
Gah. Then?
Goon glances first to Jet. He knows he's completely outmatched considering the skill level of anyone licensed by KBGA. So of course, he looks to me.
You then, if you aren't afraid to throw down with one Goon, then prove it. Defend your friend.
Jet laughs even louder than before, doubling with her sides clutched. Nobody recognizes me. Ever. Yeah, that's a great idea. So wrong. Why don't you... Oh god. You shouldn't. Baffled by belligerent, he takes a step towards me.
Well?
Sure, buddy. Let's make this quick. Of the many ways I could destroy this proxy shuttle, Reaper seems like the most fun. Let's see you defend against this. This guy's name... I feel like I've seen it somewhere. Oh, that's not a surprise. He's... Shh. Let's try to enjoy this. I finish ferrying my dragoons over the cliff, guarding his base, and move forward. The attacker would be capable of testing someone as strong as Locke. Predictably, he panics, with zealots breaking through the front to handle his tank and dragoons chasing down his marines. My Reaver is free to take aim wherever it pleases. Bop, 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 bop. Boom, tank down, and those SCVs are next. Now we're talking. With a crippled economy and lacking Goliaths or missile turrets, there are almost nothing you can do to turn this around. Let me finish defanging him so I can have a little more fun. Just one more shot. Perfect. With my reinforcements on the way, that leaves just one thing to do. Alright. One second, I need a drink. By the time I'm back from the vending machine, I see a Terran base totally destroyed behind the victory screen. Juan slams a fist on the desk and his goon clanmates stare in awe. That's bold! Who would have thought they were both pro gamers? So, we good? After a long pause, Juan jolts up with a snarl.
Hell no! Thought there was a little brat who owes us a match, not you two. Give us a game or suffer disgrace on message boards all over the internet.
Nope. No. The clan ones sighs collectively, prepared to accept defeat. Defiant, he chews over his idea silently before turning his back on his crew. He whispers, then turns towards us with a grin. The rest of his clanmates share the expression.
Then you leave us with no choice. Until you accept our rematch, we're turning this cafe into headquarters of our clan goon.
At once, the goons form a line from Leclerc's desk and pay for PC time, one by one. Smoke seems no more interested by the dozen or so new customers than he did in our conflict. The clan returns shortly, choosing stations in Circle 3 setups. Shouting at the table shaking reigns supreme for the next hour. We do our best to ignore their attempts to irritate us in the middle of chaos between a close game between me and Jet. One of the clan members shuffles behind me.
Hey dude, she hit an expansion in the top left.
I turn and stare at him. Jet does too, though she looks more like she wants to strangle him. He runs off with a grin and throws a fist bump at another goon. Even though they're putting work into intentionally annoying us, it's clear the majority of them are having fun or playing games on their own. Screw this, let's go to another cafe. Juan barks a laugh from across the room and shakes his head at me.
Go ahead, we're happy to relocate until you meet our demands.
You guys truly must have no lies.
Don't blame us, blame your friend. She's the one that won't give us a rematch.
This is my fault. Don't listen to them. I'm sure they'll eventually lose interest. What's really important for you and Jet to practice? Let's get out of here. We can eat early before you have Hog on. Mincio doesn't budge. With uncharacteristically intensity, she aims to stare across the room at Juan. If I win, you have to promise you'll leave us alone and say you're sorry.
Fine. And then when I win, you have to give this place up to Clan Goon. How about that?
You're on. This Sunday at noon. One game. Right here. Are you sure about this, Mincio? I'm a StarCraft player. Why should I be afraid of a challenge? Club deserves a better competitor as their leader. Like you, Jet. Juan's grin spreads ear to ear. With a flick of the wrist, he gestures for his clanmates to spread out across the cafe.
See you soon.
He turns his back and departs. When the Goon clan is gone, Shea Young falls in a chair and spins towards me. Teach her how to 2Kate. Too obvious. I glance up at Mincio and find her staring down and mumbling something in her hand. She notices, she straightens up and pours a fierce expression on her face. Teach me how to play standard. One wasn't great, but he had basic competency throughout the early and mid game. It takes most people a few weeks to get there. Knowing that, do you still want to go for a macro win against him? How about something that's strong and easy, but isn't a cheese? There's barely anything that fits the description. Maybe a Nexus first and 2 mass gateways? You'll have tomorrow and Saturday morning to practice. It's gonna be a lot of work. With you guys, I'm ready for it. Good. You need to go to Hagwon soon, yeah? Oh yeah, time to go. Mincio hustles to collect her things before heading out. She offers a wave and a twirl before hopping down the stairs. It's like she's starting to take the game seriously. I know what she's feeling right now, but to stand up for what's right, you need power. We'll give her some over the next few days. Either of us sit down back at our stations. A pause, share a glance. Wanna go? Do something? Sure. XSL. Round of 16 starts tonight. We could watch it someplace. How about live? It's early enough that we can still go get seats. Oh, well, I don't know. I scratch behind my head and glance away. But Jet's too keen. You'll have to go back eventually. The sooner, the better. If you're trying to keep your name out there. I can't feel but she's talking past me. Doesn't make it any easy. It's low pressure. You'll just be there to watch, okay? Yeah, okay. Chaeyoung and I stand shoulder to shoulder on our way up the escalator. The 6th floor of Coex Mall waits at the end of our ride. On top of league meetings and fan events, this is where pro gamers come for weekly one-on-one team matches. I've probably been to this studio no less than 50 times in the past year, and not once in the past week. How long has it been for you? A while. Since you were a shock T1 then. She's got to feel my stress tenfold, and to think she's convinced me. You'll get stuck signing autographs if we don't find our seats anyway. Good thing you don't have to worry about anything like that. Well, that's it for this episode. I don't want my voice to go too far away because I want to do other recordings for tonight. But If you enjoyed this video, go ahead, give me one of these. Comment down below. How am I doing? And other than that, if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this or not like this from me in the future, hit the notification bell. It's right next to the subscribe button, and you'll get a notification whenever I upload. But other than that, I'll see you all in the next episode. Toodles.